If President Biden thinks that by escalating the confrontation, he does anything to help the future administration to go out easily out of the situation. Maybe the future president will said, it's not me, it's those lunatics who were in power before me. Well, that's one option. Maybe there is a version that the current administration does everything to create more difficulties to make life as hard as possible for the future administration. Well, that's possible, but as far as I see that, President Trump, a smart and experienced person, will come up with a solution, especially given that he has gone through quite an ordeal of fighting to reclaim the Oval Office.
As you guys know, I have been paying very close attention to everything that's going on between Russia and NATO right now. Basically everything that's going on in World War III. And I've been listening to leaders from around the world. I've been listening to, presidents. I've been listening to military leaders. I've been listening to ambassadors. I've been listening to prominent figures from every country you could think of. And I've been listening to what they have to say about this conflict. And I don't know what the word for it is. It's upsetting. It's disturbing. It's disappointing. It's alarming. But out of all the voices I've heard, Putin, of all people, seems to be one of the most rational people right now when it comes to this situation. And I never thought I would say that. It's not like I'm a fan of Putin or anything like that. And you could go look up my older videos to see where and how I stand and how I feel about him. But it's disturbing. It's upsetting. It's disappointing that I'm looking for a prominent figure in the West to speak up, and no one is. And in fact, they are speaking up, but they're driving us further into World War III. I'm listening to the leaders of NATO say, oh, we need to preemptively strike Russia. We need to go ahead and do sneak attacks against Russia. I'm hearing the UK and France talk about, oh, we need to go ahead and put boots on the ground. We need to go ahead and be ready to fight tomorrow. We need to send troops now. I'm looking at Biden on his way out of office for no reason, just escalate the war times 10, giving Ukraine the right to use these long-range missiles. I'm seeing reports about the Biden-Harris administration contemplating on giving Ukraine freaking nuclear weapons that would definitely cause nuclear Armageddon. And then I'm listening to Putin, and Putin is being stern that he will respond to all of these attacks, but he is calling for some sort of, I don't even know what to call it, but he's calling for people to kind of, hey, cool out, calm down, stop doing this. Let's not take it to this level. Stop going back on certain agreements. Don't use these missiles or those missiles. We all came to an agreement that we weren't going to do this. And it's crazy. Because this is the guy who we were told is the big, bad dictator. And I'm not telling you he's a good person. I don't think he necessarily is. And I'm not going to tell you that he's not the big, bad dictator. You can have whatever opinion you want about him. All I'm saying is right now, when it comes to this situation, he seems to be being a little more rational than the leaders of NATO. And that's scary because you want to be on the side of the people who are being rational. And you would think that would be NATO, but that's not the case here at all. But Putin was speaking earlier, and he slammed the Biden administration for walking us into World War III. And he started talking about Trump. And I think he thinks that, when Trump gets in office, there's a possibility that things can calm down a little bit. He also mentions that he believes that Trump's life is still in danger. I mean, it was very interesting to listen to what this guy had to say, especially when I was listening to everyone from NATO basically just go bloodthirsty, full-on war hounds. It's insane. But let's go ahead and roll this clip, and then I'll be right back with more.
President Trump, a smart and experienced person, will come up with a solution, especially given that he has gone through quite an ordeal of fighting to reclaim the Oval Office. Well, probably just like me, you are amazed not by the fact that absolutely uncivilized means had been used against Trump, all the way up to assassination attempts, numerous assassination attempts. And I think he's not safe even now. The history of the United States has known many cases, but I think President Trump is a smart person and a cautious one, I hope. But what amazed me most, that in fighting him, not only Trump was subjected to humiliating court procedures, accusations and so on, but his family was attacked as well. His children was attacked. Gangsters don't do this in Russia. When criminal gangs fight, they don't touch children and women. It's men who fight among themselves. But those guys stooped as low as that. I think this is this looks so bad that it only reconfirms how low the political system of the United States has fallen.
Now, regardless of how you feel about Putin, how you feel about Trump, or how you feel about the war in Ukraine, or how you feel about World War III, which is currently raging on right now, the reality is, this is kind of good news. Listening to Putin just then, it gives me hope that there could be some type of resolution to this conflict. Because, just earlier, Putin was saying, hey, this is full-scale war between Russia and NATO now. This is full-scale war between Russia and the U.S. But even though Putin has acknowledged that we are now at war, he's also acknowledging that when Donald Trump takes over, there's a possibility that they could bring an end to this. He actually gave Trump some compliments. He talked about some of the things that Trump has gone through over the past few years. And like I said, you might not like these people, but if you like life, if you like planet Earth, if you like not going through World War III or a nuclear Armageddon, then you should like what was just said on that stage. Because right now, there's no possibilities of peace. There is no line of communication between Joe Biden and Putin. There's hardly any lines of communication anymore between Russia and the U.S., which is another reason why this conflict has gotten so bad. And over the past few years, Russia has been pushed further from the U.S. and closer to our enemies, which is why you see all of these alliances forming. Russia's ties with North Korea and China and all of these other countries, Iran, it didn't have to be this way. But the more you isolated Russia from the West, the more they connected with these other superpowers. And that's why we have this, whole entire alliance forming between a lot of the people who America has been at odds with for years. And we didn't have to reach this point. And even still now, even with the missiles flying and the bombs dropping, there's still a possibility that we could turn this back. But the next, month or so is very crucial, because it looks like NATO is trying to make this situation so bad that there is no turning back. And you saw how they gave Ukraine, access to the long-range missiles. We're hearing them talking about troops on the ground, giving Ukraine nukes, all types of crazy stuff. Hopefully they don't do that, but you never know what could happen. I mean, if you said 2 years ago that we would give Ukraine these long-range missiles, people would have said you were crazy. Biden himself has acknowledged that doing stuff like this would cause World War III. He acknowledged that in the past, yet he still did it on his way out of office. So very scary times, but it looks like there's still hope. But for now, let me know what you think down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.